Hi, my name is Chrissy Hodges, and I am the host of Mental Illness Matters at Blog Talk Radio. I've had the show for a couple years. It was under the stigma of mental illness radio, which you can still find on Facebook, so if you want to go like it, that'd be awesome. But I did this video series while I was getting the show up and running, and I really like it, and I really get a lot of really cool feedback. So each week I try to just bring a little tip or just a little story of encouragement for mental health and people who live with mental illness. And this week I was supposed to do this on Monday, and as you can see, it's Tuesday. And the reason why and that I didn't do it yesterday, and I seriously was on the way home from work today and just said I'm not going to do it today either, is because I've had a few or several days of feeling dissociated and disoriented, which is typically a sign that I could be sliding into an episode for OCD, which is my brain disorder. And I was driving home thinking, there's no way I'm going to do a video, because how could that even translate into something positive for anybody who's dealing with a mental illness if this is how I felt? And then I thought, there's no better reason than for when things seem to not be going the best to do a video. Because I think one of the things that's hard to remember is that when we are way into our recovery, and when things are going along, and almost sometimes you know that you forget that you have the illness, but you become really distanced from it. You forget what it's like to be there. And the reason why you want to forget is because it's so scary and it's so fearful, for me at least. On my show last week, Ethan Smith was on. I love him. He's one of my best friends. And he was talking about that they're just so, you can be two different people when you're in one state of mind and then when you're in OCD state of mind. I'm so glad he said that, because I always referred to myself as OCD Chrissy when I'm in an episode. And then there's real Chrissy. And they're so vastly different. And one doesn't understand the other. And when I'm in one state of mind, I cannot even fathom what it's like to be in the other. And I think that when you think about when you're living in your recovery and you're being healthy and you think about being in that state of mind, it's terrifying, because it's out of control. It's not in your control. And then all of those horrible feelings come along. Those, I'm weak and I'm stupid and what did I do wrong to deserve this? And all of that negativity starts to fuel and make things worse. It makes us forget that, we do have a choice to get healthy, and we do have a choice to use the tools that we've learned in our recovery to get better. And I think that's so hard to remember when you're spiraling down, or when you're starting to feel the first effects of a possible episode. Because all of a sudden you feel powerless, which is a little bit of how I felt over the last couple days. The whole, not I'm going to feel sorry for myself, but oh my gosh, what do? I have no control over this. And so I just wanted to do the video today. Not only to remind me, but maybe to just throw it out there to you, to say there are so many ways to move through an episode. There are so many ways to get through when you feel like you're going down the path of a relapse. And that is, go to your toolbox. Call your therapist. Remember what it is that you've done before to get through. It always feels like it's so much worse, when you've kind of gone a stretch and you're not dealing with it as much. It's still there, but it's not prevalent. It's not the first thing, the foremost in your frontal lobe, literally. And so the reminder to me is, go to the toolbox. Talk to the support system. Remember what it was that I learned in ERP, which is the therapy, and apply it. And mainly to remember that recovery is possible for anyone. Just because you slip doesn't mean that you're going to be like that forever. Doesn't mean that you aren't going toward being well. We look at physical ailments and we look at physical disease. People have relapses. People come back into symptoms. And then they move on again and they move through it. Maybe they need new treatment. And so it's no different for us. It just feels different because it feels, again, like something we should be able to control. Something that, well, if I was strong enough, it wouldn't have happened in the first place. Maybe all of the stars aligned this week and there were enough triggers and made me start to feel that way. Who knows? But I guess I'm not going to bother with the details of why. And I'm just going to move forward. I'm going to open my toolbox and make sure that I'm doing everything I can to go toward recovery. So why did I do the video today? Maybe to make myself feel a little bit better and that I wasn't alone. But I think we are going to hit this spot many times in our lives because our illness doesn't go away. It's always there. And just because you hit it doesn't mean that it's never going to get better, and it also doesn't mean that you're weak or should be embarrassed or ashamed, because we're going to get better at it. Every time we deal with it, even though it feels miserable, we're going to get better at it. And then we're going to have longer stretches where we go without dealing with it right in our face. So thanks for letting me share that today. And I'm sure things are going to get better. I feel better already. This Saturday, I'm going to have Ro Vital on, and we're going to talk for a full hour about who she is and what her advocacy is. She's in Argentina, and what it's going to be like for her as a co-host with me on Mental Illness Matters at Blog Talk Radio. So if you want to go to Blog Talk Radio and follow me, you'll know when our episode comes on. It's going to be sometime in the afternoon on Saturday. We don't have the time nailed down yet. But if you want to know more details, go to the Stigma of Mental Illness Radio on Facebook and give me a big like. Or you can like me on Facebook at Chrissy Hodges or send me a friend request. But thanks for taking the time. I really do love the feedback that I get from this, and I definitely feel like people feel way less alone, and so do I. So I'm probably just doing it mostly for that reason, but I just love being able to share this time with you. And I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday for Mental Health Mondays.